Welcome. Here are some character ideas that I've actually used in the past, and some new ones for both D&D and Pathfinder. Let's start with what not to do. You don't want to pick a class based on some arbitrary thing without knowing anything about the class. So you might not know if you want to play it or not. For a good example, I had a player who he's an emo dude, very emo, very edgy. So he picked a class specifically based on the most edgy class. He just wanted to play the most edgy class. So he played a rogue because someone else was already playing a blood hunter. That person was also trying to play the most edgy class. He hated playing the rogue and ended up eventually switching from rogue to a cleric, which he reflavored to make edgy. So he ended up playing a death cleric, and he liked that a lot. So you want to find a class that you want to play, and don't just pick it off some arbitrary thing. Have an idea, and then listen to like some classes that like could probably suit that and like get reflavored, and then go from there. Here's some D&D character ideas. So you could, Paladin is great multi-classes, I've discussed before. One I made was a Paladin Warlock with guns, and with a homebrew feat that allowed him to use smites on ranged weapon attacks. So he was using dual Berettas, which are just pistols, and he was a gangster Warlock Paladin. It was pretty cool. And then another one thing I play currently is a Paladin Rogue, and those guys are incredibly powerful. That wasn't the point, but the point wasn't to make it powerful. I just want a guy who can like run on walls, like with a katana or an itachi, and just tear through people with magical powered attacks. And the thing is, there's multiple different ways of playing the game. You could play with just a base class character, like just having cleric all the way through, or just having wizard all the way through. And then there's multi-classes, and those are a bit more complicated, but you can pull it off if you talk to your dungeon master and read up on the D&D Beyond page. For Pathfinder, multi-classing is so ridiculously easy, much easier than D&D. And so in Pathfinder, let's just have an idea for Pathfinder real quick. How any character can use what's called an archetype, which is just like basically a subclass, but not really. It's different. And any character could take an archetype, and there's archetypes that are just other classes, and that's how the multi-classing works. And like there's the assassin archetype, for example. I made an investigator with an assassin archetype, and the whole point of him was during the at night, and he was a split personality, and one personality was the assassin, one personality was the investigator. At night he was the assassin, like doing assassinations and stuff. During the day he was the investigator, mostly investigating and following these crimes that seem to follow him everywhere, and he's following them himself, trying to figure out what's going on here. Makes a very interesting dynamic, very powerful character, using mostly crossbows and specific hidden swords. And then there's another idea for a character that was a multi-class for Pathfinder. It was a robotic paladin witch. The witch gave him spell slots, which is really nice. And the thing is, witches get magical pets. So the pet was a robotic eagle. I'm definitely not just copying Ninjago here. So how this would work is he was a hell spawn that came from this Warforged was from hell. He was sent to like kill like people. He didn't really know who he was, what his purpose was. All he knew is that he must kill. And that was kind of the basic gist of it. But he's slowly like learning to like not kill, learning morality and stuff. Powerful character. He uses a great sword. He was awesome. He was awesome to play. It's great. And then there's also metagaming in Pathfinder and D&D, or power gaming, which is where you take you try and like multi-class and crap to like be the most powerful character that you can like possibly imagine. For example, having like a totem warrior barbarian, which is totem warrior and barbarian is the most powerful barbarian, combined with druid and some spellcasters, and just basically making it so you can't die, and like having 800 health, no die, tough feet, everything, so you just can't like die, and like maybe damage builds to like do as much damage as possible. Problem with these builds is if there's only one person doing it in the party, it makes it kind of crappy, because now there's just one really powerful player cheesing through everything, whereas the other players don't get to really do much, and the DM can't really balance it correctly because there's one player that's so much more powerful than everyone else, so he has to balance, and trying to balance around that is just near impossible to actually get right. But if everyone's just power gaming, then the DM can just bounce around and it's fine. You see, the party is supposed to be at very similar power levels. That's how D&D, the base classes, are designed. Sure, you can still multi-class and not be super powerful, but the thing is, you have to balance it. You gotta balance it right, so you can still achieve what you want with your idea and not go overboard with maximum power and everything. And that's all I have to say. Maybe other ideas will come onto YouTube Shorts. I don't know. Bye.